The second a borrower asks, "What's your rate?" most loan officers panic and blurt out a number. That's usually the moment they lose the deal, not win it. I'm Narek. I co-founded Loan Titan, and I've been originating since 2010, and I've funded over $800 million in home loans in my career. I've taken plenty of calls that started as pure rate shopping. Here's what I've learned. A rate shopper isn't rejecting you. They're testing whether you're going to act like a vendor or an advisor. How you answer that first question decides which one they think you are. A vendor answers the question asked and waits to see if that number wins. An advisor answers the question underneath it. What does the person actually need to feel confident moving forward with? Almost every loan officer defaults to vendor mode by accident. Not because they don't know better, but because the pressure of the moment makes blurting out a number feel like the safe move. It isn't. So today, exactly how I handle that moment, the reframe I use before I ever quote a number, and a couple of real calls that prove it works. Let's get into it. 1. Why quoting out the first loses the deal. The instant you quote a rate before anything else, you've confirmed you're just another number to compare to. Once you're in a pure numbers competition, you're commoditized. Someone can always claim a lower number, real or not, and now you're negotiating against a phantom instead of talking to an actual person about an actual situation. Here's the mechanism behind that. The moment price is the only thing on the table, a borrower's brain genuinely can't tell you apart from the next loan officer they call. You haven't said anything yet that a script couldn't say. Trust is the thing that actually differentiates you, and trust takes more than the first 10 seconds of a phone call to build. Quote first, and you've skipped the only part of the conversation where you had a chance to win it. A real story I can actually address here is when a consumer called me asking about rate quotes on an investment property duplex. Instead of blurting out a number, I asked them what the plan was with the property, why they want to buy it. Was it for tax strategy? Getting the underlying comment and underlying story as to why they want to buy the property gives you an advantage to know how to quote out the rate, what services to offer the client. That's proper debt management, not just quoting out and blurting out a rate. Taking the time to address the client is the moment that actually decides everything, not the rate itself. The response to the question about the rate. So if quoting first is the trap, what do you do instead? That's the reframe. Number 2, the reframe. Well, you ask before you quote a number. Before you quote anything, ask what they're actually optimizing for. Lowest monthly payment, lowest cash at close, fastest possible closing, lowest cost over the life of the loan. Most borrowers have never been asked this directly because every other loan officer they've talked to jump straight to a number. The specific questions matter here. Ask how long they plan to stay in the home. That alone tells you whether points make sense or not, as they're also weighing lenders on service and communication, not just price. Most are, they just haven't been asked that. Ask what happened on their last purchase transaction or last refinance transaction, if they've done one before, because whatever went wrong then is usually what they're quietly afraid of this time. Address it. And number 3, when they still just want the number. Sometimes you ask the reframe questions and they push back. I get it. Just give me the rate. That's what they say. That's not a failure. It's normal. And how you handle it matters as much as the reframe itself. Don't stonewall. Give them a real honest range right then. Tied to the caveat that the exact number depends on the answers you're still gathering. You're going to ask them. Something like most scenarios like yours land in this range. And once I know your timeline and your priorities, I can get you the exact number, not just a guess. That respects the question instead of dodging it and still gets you the rest of the conversation. If you're realizing you've been quoting first on every one of these calls, that's worth a real conversation about how you're currently handling them. I'll walk you through it with you directly, confidential, no pitch. Book a call at the link below. You can just email me, text me. 4, showing the whole picture, not just a number. Once you know what they're optimizing for, show them the whole picture transparently, even the parts that don't favor you. A slightly higher rate with no points and a close 10 days faster might be the better answer for someone who you told speed matters. A slightly lower rate with more cash due at closing might be wrong for someone who you told cash to close is priority. Showing them the trade-off honestly is what a vendor never does, because a vendor is just trying to win the number. This is also where a lot of borrowers get confused for the first time in a good way. The note rate and the APR aren't the same thing. Points aren't a trick. They're prepaid interest that can make sense or not depending on how long someone keeps the loan. And lender credits can lower cash to close at the cost of a highly higher rate. Walking someone through that plainly, without jargon, is usually the first time anyone's actually explained it to them instead of just quoting out a number and moving on. That's the moment a rate shopper actually turns into a client. Not because you won on price, because you were the only one who showed them the whole picture instead of just the one number they asked for. Now you've got the whole approach and you can use it on the very next call that starts with, what's your rate? So here's the whole thing. A rate shopper isn't testing your pricing. They're testing whether you'll act like a vendor or an advisor. Ask what they're actually optimizing for before you even quote a number. Then show them the whole picture, not just the one number they called about. This isn't about tricking anyone into paying more. It's about actually being the professional in the room instead of racing to the bottom on a number anyone can be out by just lying about it. And here's the part worth remembering after this video ends. None of this requires you to be pushy or slow walk anyone. It's 4 moves in order. Ask what they're optimizing for, give them an honest range. If they push for the number early, show the whole picture once you know their answer. Let the rate be one input instead of the whole decision. That's the entire shift, and it works on the very next call, not 6 months from now. That's exactly the kind of conversation I have with loan officers who are tired of losing every rate shopper call. Book a confidential call with me, email me, let's get on the phone, let's see if this route, which I think it will make sense for your mortgage origination platform.